Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Rock Bottom Podcast with Ray DeVito, formerly known as the G-Hole Podcast. And I got a great one, man. Cleveland legend, one of my favorite people, Dave Hill, is on this with me, as well as very funny comedian, former NYPD officer Mark DeMayo. He's a good guy, and we have a lot of fun. We go into like some of the stuff that I had to deal with, like the legal issues from the past year and stuff, and then a bunch of other just fun things. A lot of disrespect and respect for Lenny Dykstra on this one as well. But yeah, check out. They both have comedy albums on 800-Pound Gorilla. Dave's is coming out December 9th. Mark's is already out. You can follow both of them on Instagram. Dave's at Mr. Dave Hill, and then Mark DeMayo at Mark DeMayo, and Dave's is Mr. Dave Hill on Instagram, and then Mark DeMayo is Mark DeMayo on Instagram, M-A-R-K with a K. And yeah, we have good times. Join my Patreon, you bastards. A bunch of stuff up there. Thank you guys for that. Join my Patreon, patreon.com/Ray DeVito. Yeah, I'm gonna do a Patreon hang this week, and I saw a bunch of new people. Welcome. I want you guys to hang out. We'll hang out together on a Patreon episode. And silkcityhotsauce.com. Check them out, silkcityhotsauce.com. Put in G-Hole, save 20% on everything. Doing some good stuff there. I just released a baseball card video last week. It's on my YouTube page at Ray DeVito. And yeah, that's it. All right. It's almost like at 4,000 views. It came out 3 days ago. So that's fun. That's fun stuff. What else do I want to say? Check out my website for tour dates. Can be all over the place. In New York City, the 18th, Brooklyn Comedy Club, and the 20th at the Stand Comedy Club. This is coming out. It looks like I'm going to be in Charlotte this weekend at the Charlotte Comedy Zone with Mark Norman. So come on out there. And yeah, and join us. And again, join the Patreon, patreon.com/Ray DeVito. I love all you guys. And all right. Enjoy. Oh, and a shout out to Helium Podcast Network. If you're listening on there, thank you. I guess I am on there. Helium Podcast Network. Even though I've never done anything at Helium Comedy Clubs. Thank you for liking my podcast, Helium Podcast Networks. All right. I love you guys. Peace. Podcast. I think every time you guys do the podcast, you meet a comedian that you've never met before, but you guys know of each other, right? Mark DeMayo.
From the streets.
From the streets.
No. I just like to say from the streets.
Where are you from, Dave? Where do you live?
I live in New York.
Okay.
But I'm from Cleveland, like Ray.
Hell yeah, we rock it out as we're both wearing non-Cleveland stuff on our
I know. I never wear Cleveland stuff.
I like that hat, that Met hat.
It's not the Mets. That's what everyone thinks. It's New York Giants.
Oh, okay.
Before they moved, which hurts me because it's again, people are listening mostly on audio, but it's a 1954 World Series when they swept Dave and I's Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, well, I'm taking it as I'm using it as a Mets hat. 99.9% of the people when you walk in the street will assume it's a Met hat.
Well, they don't know. They're not in the know.
Yeah, but they will know one thing. They're going to assume that you're a cool person and you know baseball.
I do know baseball. That's why I'm explaining it. That's why I'm explaining it to you guys. Did you guys know this? Like the Brooklyn Dodgers, well, the Dodgers and New York Giants both left. Obviously, the Giants went to San Francisco, Dodgers to LA. But because the Mets came 7 years, or they left in 56. So 5 years later, the Mets came. And so what the Mets did is they took the Dodgers blue and then the logo of New York from the New York Giants. That's why the Mets hat is what it is.
And so, then what was that in the rotunda in Mets? Citi Field now. What did that idiot do? The owner, he dedicated the whole thing to to everybody except the Mets. They had a Jackie Robinson thing there. They had a New York Giants thing there. So how about putting up Keith Hernandez or Gary Carter or a poster of Darryl Strawberry? Anything. The former,
just a big straw full of cocaine to honor all the 86 Mets.
Yeah, listen, who wasn't on cocaine back then?
I don't know, but Lenny.
I was. Everyone was.
Yeah,
my parents
of course.
I was just a kid, but still going for it.
By the way, Lenny Dykstra stood me up twice to do this podcast. Lenny.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
How does that? How he just doesn't show up? Period. Or he doesn't get back to you, or
No, he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I hit him up on Twitter and he never logs in or never. And then like 2 months later, he's like, oh, I apologize. I forgot. So, all right, let's do it again. And then he didn't show up again. But
that's surprising because he seems like he really has his shit together.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
you guys see like he tweets on Twitter that it's been so many days since he's been arrested?
No, I didn't see that. That's great though.
Yeah.
I have a friend who is friends with him, and I'm
he
genuinely shocked that he didn't follow through. That guy seems like he's got it dialed in.
No, if you remember, he also remember when they were doing those celebrity fights for some reason, and he was supposed to fight the bagel guy.
Yeah.
The bagel guy. Who's the bagel guy?
From Long Island.
The little angry bagel guy. He was like 3'2", and he looked like.
Oh.
He had a beef with somebody in the bagel shop, and he started yelling at them, and he was very aggressive. And somebody recorded it, but the guy's so tiny, it's cute. He's really pissed off, man. But
I feel like he could take. I feel like I could take Lenny Dykstra. I feel like anyone could take Lenny Dykstra.
You think so?
Fight him.
Yeah.
Maybe now.
I have no interest in fighting him, but I feel like he's maybe doesn't,
back in the day.
No, I wouldn't fight 1986 Lenny Dykstra
or 90, 91. Remember when he was with the Phillies?
Yeah.
That's when he looked like he was running through the wall.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't mess with him. I don't.
I feel like, well, now he'd probably get like I don't know, Hep C if you fought him now.
Yeah,
you got a lot of body punches. Not too many. You don't want to get him bleeding all over you.
Yeah.
But talk about a guy he's definitely had an interesting life. Like a rock star almost.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I
used to like him as a player when I was a kid.
I loved him. I just think that as far as his ability, like compared to other major league center fielders, he was a little shy on it, but his attitude and just the way he went about his business. And then once he found the right dose, the right script, you couldn't stop him. That guy was an animal, that guy.
I always remember he had that giant wad of tobacco too.
Yeah.
At all times. Like he just always had an upper. Just always like just that
a baseball.
Yeah.
He's a baseball player.
Yeah, Big League Chew. He was the model for Big League Chew.
Was he? They quit making that, I think.
I choose to believe.
Oh.
They quit making because it's like makes kids want to chew tobacco or something.
Yeah, I think that's probably why they got rid of Big League Chew. Because I remember it used to be a thing when we were kids. I remember I tried tobacco and it was just so disgusting. Like I would get headaches and like sick, and like that's why I didn't do it. It's not.
You got to stick with it.
Yeah, I didn't stick with it at all.
You got to stick. You got to keep going. It's like anything.
Well, I did that with
heroin. Heroin makes you sick at first, but you stick with it. You get a couple good days out of it. I'm told. I don't know personally.
Yeah, Dave, where are you at? Are you in New York now? Or are you back?
I'm in New York. Yeah.
Okay. Are you going home for Christmas?
I am. Yeah, I was just there.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back.
I thought I saw that you went back to Cleveland. When are you there? If you're there sometime, if I line up a show or something, please, you're welcome to do it.
Please, yeah, I'll be the 23rd. I go back there.
The 23rd, right for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you'll be there the 28th,
flying in.
I got there's like some show that I'm gonna do in North Ridgeville. You're welcome to do.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I've been looking to get a piece of North Ridgeville.
Yeah, it's far.
I don't know if I've ever been in North Ridgeville.
North Ridgeville, Ohio. Yeah,
I
was
know.
A little kid, we lived there for like a minute, and then we moved when I was 5.
I know it's like a town I only heard about on the news.
Yeah, we're talking about small towns outside of Cleveland, Ohio, Mark.
Yeah.
Dude,
Don't get us started, Mark.
dude, Dave, you don't know this. Mark is my go-to. He was a cop for 20 years, right? 20 years, New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
20
20.
years, New York
Did you
City.
get that's amazing. So did you got your pension and all that?
Half of it.
Wow, that's awesome.
My ex-wife gets the other half.
Oh.
But I
No, but
heard
that's the full run though, right? 20 years you got to put in, right?
In order to get a full pension, you have to do 20 years. You can leave a little bit earlier if you want, but then you're not going to get the full pension. Plus, there's like a 60th you can get. 25 is the ideal time to retire,
Mm-hmm.
according to my tier when I got on. Now it's different. Now we have to do, I think, 55 or 25. You have to do. So you definitely have to do the extra 5 years. And I don't even know if they go. Mine was the best 3 years that you could have. They would average your best 3 years as a cop, and that was your pension. Now I think they just
Oh, nice.
wow. What were your best 3 years? What does that mean? Was that
Yeah.
monetarily or is it
Like,
the most arrests?
no, money wise, how much you made. So
Okay.
it would be your salary on top of any other overtime that you had. So I think my best 3 years were probably somewhere hovering around 125,000.
Okay. Dude,
nice.
I wasn't like a big overtime guy. I did what I was allowed to do at the end. I didn't really go over it. Some guys go over it and then they get a slap on the wrist and then they go over it again and
you
like,
get in trouble
hey,
for working too much?
yeah, you're supposed to keep track of your overtime. And if you get to a point, like, you know what a lot of guys do is that they like to go hard and heavy up front in the month. So take the 30-day calendar month, right?
Right.
I'm going to make as many arrests as I possibly can or do whatever I can to accumulate as much overtime within, like, let's say the first 2 weeks. So now I'm capped out. Any other emergency that happens after that, if they want to have me stay or continue working, I got to let them know and say, listen, I'm capped out. And then if it's a really dire situation, I'll be like, all right, whatever, come on, we need you. So then now you go and you're going over the cap with their permission.
So what you're telling me is if I was going to commit a crime in New York City, it's best to do it the last week of the month.
No, because well,
You get what I'm saying? Because there'll be less
you be-
people. Everyone's
you
going to be
also-
already at their overtime, and I'll be like, I'm scot-free. There's no one around to arrest me.
well, unless you fall into this theory where, for example, people say, oh, it must be the end of the month as far as I just got a summons that I couldn't talk my way out of. And the same thing is if we're talking about activity goals, right? So we used to have activity goals, which basically was a nice way of saying you better produce something, either write some summonses or make some arrest. So if my unit was an arrest unit and I was supposed to come up with 4 arrests a month, let's say 1 a week, and now I'm shy 2, and it's the last week of the month. I gotta, you see,
I
so that's
see.
where people
So-
go, oh, it must be the end of the month. That's why you're giving
I
me that
see.
summons or arresting me.
So, okay, you were just talking about the few that go heavy at the beginning of the month. I thought that was normal, and you're saying no.
Yeah.
Most cops are the other way, where they don't do shit. The
It's
first
half and
3
half.
weeks.
It's literally you could cut it with a knife right down the middle, half and half. There's half the department is insane, the other half is useless. I was more on the useless side. Not useless, but just not gung ho. Let's put it that way.
But I was listening to you talk about 9/11. Like after 9/11, like they had you guys working where you're just like going through all those body bags at ground zero.
Oh.
That had to be insane.
Well, they gave what the people were digging in the rubble, and they would use a body bag for anything that they found. So, and it's funny because, well, it's not funny, it's sad, but the body bags are usually I think they're 7 feet long,
Right.
and the body parts that they were finding was like a piece of a bone that could be a human bone, a piece of skin. So that thing would get wrapped up and put up in a 7-foot body bag. And now you're carrying these body bags up to the medical examiner's office, and they're opening it up, and there's not a whole body in there. There's not even a whole arm or leg in there. It's just a piece. I remember vividly a long piece of skin and like a half a leg bone. And they scrape it just to make sure it's a human remains as opposed to an animal. And that's what we did down there for a couple. That was the first night. Yeah.
Wow.
That sounds insane. Like that had to be yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. But dude, you've seen he's never been shot, Dave. He's never shot anybody. So that's a good thing. He's one of the good
It's-
That's
cops.
good.
It's
Yeah.
boring. Yeah, I know. It's so boring.
You
What a
say that
boring-
like it's a boring. I think it's a great
It's
thing.
probably
it's
good.
it's great, like now. But when you're at a
not
when
back
you're
in
at
the day.
no, when you're at a party somewhere and you get somebody, it's usually the most anti-gun person too, or the person that pretends they're so anti-gun. On the side, they'll usually ask you, "Hey, did you ever shoot anybody?" And then when you say no, they look so disappointed. Like you just they ruin their day.
Who's it?
And they get pissed at you.
Lenny Dykstra all the time. Lenny Dykstra.
And I'm telling you, it's always the most anti-gun person. They'll always ask you on the side, or a group of them, not completely against violence, maybe even doesn't like the police, but they're always fascinated. They want to know, did you shoot anybody? And then when you tell them no, you just became the most boring person in the room. So I used to make shit up.
Dude, Dave, I don't know if I told you this, not that it matters, but the last time, Mark, I don't know if you knew, because I told you about it, you being a former cop, about my whole situation. I got in a car accident, Dave. This is last July. I would have a part-time job where I deliver medications for a pharmacy in the Bronx. And I was returning a rental car, and I had some of the medications with me. I got in a car accident.
Don't you have to be like an ex-con to get that job?
Apparently. I've never. I'm 43 years old, never been arrested ever in my life. I'm unconscious. The cop charged me with stealing I'm unconscious, so I'm resisting arrest, trying to flee, illegally having narcotics, on narcotics, just all these charges. And I wake up in jail. And I'm like, my sisters took me right to the hospital. I need to go to the hospital. The guy instead put me in a jail cell. So I'm just sitting in this jail cell, and then my sisters come and get me. They immediately hire a lawyer, and this guy was honestly, it was scary dealing with this lawyer. He's like, listen, they don't just arrest you for 5 things. Like, obviously you did something. You got to at least take the DUI, which they tested me and everything. As far as like, I remember doing a breathalyzer, waking me up for that. And I was in the hospital. So there's like blood tests. So now I had smoked weed occasionally. So like, that's one thing that scared me. It's like, okay, well, there is weed in my system. So like, I was nervous about, okay, this is all going to happen. Anyways, the guy never showed up. I spent $10,000 on this lawyer. So, I mean, it already cost me $10,000 plus put me in hell just mentally thinking about it. Everything got dropped. The guy never showed up.
Who's the guy?
It was a state trooper in Newark.
That's the guy. That's who you're saying didn't show up?
Yeah, the officer that arrested me. The one that hit me with all these arrests. Like
charges.
Yeah,
he hit you with charges.
Charges, yeah. He hit me with all these charges. None of them, every one of them was dropped. The judge dropped everything. So now I don't wish that guy the worst, but I do want it known that he ruined a year of my life. Like, I don't know. And I tried to complain to the Newark State Police, and they could care less. They just put me on this, like, they just passed me through the phone, and like, it's like nothing. It's like, it's impossible to make a complaint.
Yeah. You know what you're leaving out, though?
What's that?
Your lawyer that was assigned to you. No,
he wasn't assigned.
No, that I was your lawyer on this case. You're leaving all this out.
Okay.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, like, I'm one of the greatest legal minds on this Zoom right now.
I've never hired a lawyer before. My sister's hired a lawyer. I mean, they used my money because I have a joint account with my sister, and they hired a lawyer, and he was like, don't worry, you're not going to go to jail. You just got to take the DUI and you're going to be fine. And I'm like, but I wasn't on anything. I didn't. Let's just pretend that I'm fucking innocent on everything. Let's just fucking pretend that for a second, that I'm innocent.
But how sweet does this story sound? Like, just between two cops talking. What was that collar about yesterday? The arrest you made. Some guy, he just got out of prison. He worked for the pharmacy, and he dipped into one of the bags, started doing all the freaking pills. And next thing you know, he passed out behind the wheel. We came up to him. He got into an accident. He fought us the whole way. And then we had to bring him to the hospital. Do you see what I'm saying?
No,
The
they
story
didn't take him
makes
to the hospital. He put
no.
him in a
Well,
jail
I'm just
cell.
saying the story makes so much more sense when it's just a guy who dipped into the bags of medicine on the way to delivery, got really fucked up, crashed the car. That sounds logical. Well,
and now that I hear Mark say it, I got to say I'm siding with Mark on this, and I would like this open up this investigation again.
But
It's just
saying,
I know
how much money that cost me and what
it just
pain in the ass it
it
was.
just goes to show you that there are innocent people out there. But when you say the story about how you got into a car accident, you were unconscious, you also had all these drugs that you were delivering, the whole thing it's very plausible. If you read it in the paper, you would sound guilty.
He sounds guilty to me right now.
Yeah. Who was this guy? Maybe I'll call up the trooper.
Like,
we could open this up again.
Like, are you sure you didn't hang out with Lenny Dykstra? This sounds like a Lenny Dykstra story. Were you a utility infielder on the '86 Mets? It sounds like a Tim Tuffle deal.
So what you're saying is you basically got him away with a DUI.
I didn't do it, Mark.
I know. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sounds like I don't know.
Well, here's also what happened, which is very important. If I would have taken the let's say I would have accepted a DUI, even though I wasn't on it, I would have been on the hook with my car insurance wouldn't have kicked in.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
My car insurance wouldn't have kicked in. So
I hate to say it, but it's horrible that you were scared for a year of your life. I can't even imagine that. But at the end, you didn't get the charge of DUI. It didn't mess up your insurance or your license. So,
what about that $10,000, Mark? How am I going to get that
in the retainer? Isn't it like a thing? Like if you let's just say if you give a lawyer a $10,000 retainer, and he only charges you $1,000 for your case. Let's say the case got dismissed. I'm just charging you for showing up in our initial consultation.
Right.
He's probably not going to give you the money back, but at least you can get in trouble again, and he's supposed to be there for you for the other $9,000, isn't he?
I have no idea that. I have no
My
idea.
My point is, he probably owes you a couple. You can get arrested again, and he'll be obligated to take care of you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
and by the way, that thing went to court like 5 or 6 different times, and every time the cop didn't show up and there was no evidence. So they're like, okay, we're rescheduling for this. And then it was 2 months later. Then I showed up again on the Zoom court. Okay, there's no evidence. There's no, okay, well, you got till this date to do it. And it just kept getting pushed. And then after, I take it back, it was like 4 times. And the third one, when they had no evidence in the guy, they're like, okay, every charge is dismissed.
That's something that doesn't happen in New York anymore. You used to be able to go to traffic court. That's where it usually happened. You got a speeding ticket, and then the cop wouldn't show up that day, or he wouldn't recall. That doesn't happen anymore. If the cop doesn't recall, or he doesn't have it in his memo book, you're gonna get in trouble as a cop. You're gonna get a rip. You're gonna probably lose a vacation day or 2 for not having your memo book properly entry that particular incident. Also, if it's an arrest and the case gets thrown out, you're going to be responsible for it. What happened? What went wrong? So that's another thing you got lucky with. That particular time in Newark, those cops probably could get away with not showing up.
Yeah, he was a state trooper. He was a state trooper. It was right by the Newark airport because I was returning a rental car there. So, yeah, that's where it happened.
You were dealing drugs in a rental car?
I had a rental car. I was getting a car from Ohio so I could do this job. You
cross state lines.
Oh man.
This could have been a lot bigger.
We have to open this case up again.
This could have been a lot bigger.
Oh, really? Why? What could have happened, Mark? What's the...
You're transporting drugs across state lines under the influence.
But
Who
I
knows what-
wasn't under the influence. Like you're just like
I don't
you just
know.
make up the own
Everything
thing.
I'm hearing,
Jesus.
I think you're under the influence now. The more I hear,
Yeah, really. He just keeps digging a bigger hole for himself.
See,
This
and then
is
people
ex-
wonder why like police get a bad reputation. You're just
this
I'm
is how
already
you
guilty of
sound.
everything.
You sound like you
I
sound like an addict right now.
Jesus. I sound like
Who
an
knows
addict.
what was in that trunk too?
Ah,
Oh man.
wow. And the only reason why I had medication on me, it's like the people that I went to deliver to that weren't home. So the people that are not home. So it was only like 2. If everyone would have been home that day, I would have had 0 medication on me.
Uh-huh.
But it was just like 2 people's medication because 2 out of the 20 people I delivered to just happened to not be home. So I
Right
had
now-
no medication.
right
And
now,
also he gave the medication to my sisters. Like
Mhm.
so if I'm so called stealing medications, why
Mhm.
are you handing it back to me?
Right now, I'm going to go to my partner. Maybe like let's find out what are the 2 houses that he went to and see if they got cameras. So maybe he's peeking in the window or something like that. Maybe they got burglarized. Let's look into that.
Is that
That's
what
while you're in the cell, that's what I'm telling you. I have a feeling like he burglarized a couple of apartments. And do me
While
a favor.
masturbating.
Yeah, and go through the car, see if it's got any and there's got to be a gun in that car too. Somewhere there's a gun in that car. Let's go through that car again.
Oh, you know what else he did? He stole my sunglasses and the money that was in there. Because when I went to the car, they were Armani sunglasses that a friend of mine, she's a model, a comedian, Michelle DeSwart, that she just gave me these like $300 pair of sunglasses that were male sunglasses. Those were gone, and so was like the $40 of cash that I had in the car.
Were they aviator sunglasses?
No, they were like just like designer sunglasses that yeah.
But they could have completed like a sexy cop outfit.
Yeah, I don't know. So what do you make of this, Mark? I'm just like, if you were me, should I go to that station and say, hey, I just want to let it be known that wasn't cool?
I would look for that officer, and I'd put a couple of $100 in the thing and say, listen, thanks for not showing up and for not looking in the trunk. Just so you know, I had a gun back there, and some child porn.
Oh boy.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks
No,
for
yeah,
looking the other way. How much
I-
did you have to give that cop to not show up? Was that part of the 10,000?
Oh my Jesus, Mark. Like no,
So
so,
you
like
get-
situations like that, like it just is what it is. Like the cop just to go on with his day. Is that any like black mark on his record? Like, all right, you did this false arrest, or does anything happen to him? Or no, his day just goes on like it's another Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he didn't lose any sleep over it. He got into a car accident. There was a guy passed out. He looked like he was high as fuck. He arrested him. He confiscated the drugs, and that's that. He did his job that day. Now,
Wow.
everybody, listen. Your story sounds legit to me. I would have, and thank God you were able to get your hands on $10,000. Otherwise, we'd be doing this podcast with you and still in prison.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's insane. Well, here's my, and Mark, you're probably not gonna take my side on this, but if a cop arrests you for all that stuff and then it's all proven that you didn't do any of that stuff, then they should pay the legal fees that you had to pay. Do you agree with that? Yes or no?
You mean personally?
Yeah, that
Or
cop
the city should pay?
whoever, but like that.
I mean, if
person
the
should
city
be paid
pays,
first.
then it's a lawsuit, which they already have. And if there's certain states where the cops aren't indemnified anymore, so that's a definite possibility. If they wrongfully arrest you, you can sue them personally. In a lot of states, including I think New York State now, on certain cases, there has to be a felony of a certain kind, and you could sue the cop personally. And that's a big thing right now because a lot of cops obviously have lost this insurance that they had, this insurance policy towards wrongful arrest, and now they're going to have to, lawyer up and get their own lawyers. And that's why I was thinking, if you're a lawyer right now, now's a great time to approach a union and go, give me $1 million retainer and I'll represent all your members.
The other thing I
know.
heard this too is because he was a state trooper that they have more protection than just a regular cop.
Well, they can perform their duties all throughout the state. Whereas if I was a city cop and I left and I made an arrest in Nassau County, then if I live there, it's I'm an off-duty cop making an arrest. Or civilian might as well be, because I don't really have jurisdiction there.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but I just heard like they get more leeway than other police officers, state troopers.
Well, they were allowed to roam the whole state,
No.
so they're always on duty.
And
no
he
matter where
roamed
they
into
are.
me, this son of a bitch.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm done talking about depressing stuff. I just wanted to hear what but I do want to go down there and just let it be known, like, hey man, just you ruined a year of my life.
You should make a sign and stand out front
And by the way,
every day,
I've never had any. It's amazing because like
naked.
I've always that's the only bad interaction I ever had with a police officer. Otherwise, everything else has been fine. That was the only one, but it just takes one to like really. It could be any profession. If some like hairdresser causes you $10,000 loss and you almost go to jail because of it, you're gonna hate that hairdresser. You're always gonna be like, fucking.
I would argue that happened to me.
Yeah, the hairdresser. So, all right.
You can't, because how can you know? You get a bad haircut, you don't know how much money that's cost you and lost wages.
Yeah, it's
know?
true. Speaking of which,
Look at that.
I can use a haircut. That's
But
what's holding me back. A nice haircut.
I understand what you're saying about that one bad experience, and it's definitely true. I can't tell you how many times people, once again, if it's not about the gun, did you ever shoot anybody? The other question is to tell me some story that I don't give a shit about, that happened between you and an interaction with another cop. And just so you know, if you're listening out there, we don't care. I'm always going to side with the cop. I don't care. That's whoever they are. That's my brother and sister in blue. I don't even know you. Get away from me. I don't want to hear your stupid story.
That's this whole podcast. Sorry about that, Mark.
No, but everybody's got a story. Like, you're cool, but that cop was an asshole. It's like somebody's talking about your cousin. Yeah. All right. I hate the guy too, but he's my cousin. Don't talk bad about him. Otherwise, I'm going to freaking rip your head off. Don't talk bad about my family. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk bad about my family. Yeah. When you start off a story with you're cool, but that guy was an asshole, or that woman was an asshole, even if she does sound like an asshole, or he does, that officer, I'm not going to say, yeah, they sound like an asshole. I'm just going to shake my head a lot, smile a little bit and go, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. That sounds pretty bad. But I don't talk bad against fellow comedians, my friends, my family, and cops.
Well, you're really going to hate part 2 of this podcast because we share comics. That's where we go now.
All right.
Yeah, no, I was just telling you my experience. Like, yeah, I do want to go down there, not to get but just let it know, like, that stunk. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do it on the next Comedy Central special, and then hopefully it'll blow up, and then you'll get your story out there.
Yeah, no, it just wasn't a fun experience for me, obviously. So I just wanted it that. All right, let's talk about fucking habit. Lenny Dykstra, man. What a fucking weirdo that guy is, huh? That son of a bitch. By the way, he didn't even show up to fight the bagel guy, the bagel boss. And then the bagel boss like had a heart attack like 2 weeks later. So he would have died had Lenny Dykstra.
And Lenny Dykstra would have killed him.
Yeah.
In the ring.
That's the last thing he needs.
Yeah. But the fight afterwards, though, the fight after Lenny Dykstra kills the bagel guy, that's going to be a big money fight. Because this guy, that guy kills people. Lenny Dykstra, not only a retired baseball player, nails, but he's got an awesome left hook that killed somebody.
Yeah, so that's the end of the Lenny. What's going on with you guys, comedy wise? What's new in your world?
I'm doing a show with Lenny Dykstra tonight.
Nice. In honor of Jersey State Troopers in Newark.
It's going to be in Newark.
Yeah.
It's a police fundraiser.
It's at the courthouse in Newark.
Yeah.
For the troopers.
Yeah. By the way, that judge couldn't have been any more cool to me. That judge was cool to me the whole time. Whoever that judge was.
Maybe you got
I'm
a
gonna
piece
rip
of
this case wide open as soon as we're done podcasting.
that.
Yeah. He's,
I can't wait.
Your lawyer probably gave him a piece of that retainer.
Well, I seriously didn't like my lawyer. My lawyer the whole time was like, no, seriously, they don't just arrest you for all this stuff if you didn't do it. Like, obviously, you did something. I'm like, that's not. I go, that's not.
Well, in all fairness, the same way people lie to police, they may have a tendency to lie to their lawyer at first, and then something will pop up in the middle of court, or it'll pop up late. Like, let's say if you go to trial, which is rare. It's not like TV. Everybody goes to trial. Usually people cop a plea. But if they do find out something else, it's better you tell me up front. This way we can prepare for it. That's
Right.
the conversation that we should have. Ray, I believe your story. Even though it sounds like a crock of shit, I have to believe you. But if there
you're
is
talking
something,
from my lawyer, you're talking
yeah, if there is something that you're hiding, tell me now so we can be prepared for it. I don't want to be surprised later on. That's the conversation a lawyer should have with his client.
Speaking of which, while we're talking about, we'll talk about people that are not cool. The whole Michigan, what do you guys think? The parents getting arrested. I think that needed to happen with all the.
The parents of the shooter.
Yeah, in Oakdale, Michigan.
Yeah, I haven't been following it that closely, which is strange considering what an amazing legal mind I have.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like they should definitely be arrested.
Well, it's good that the schools are back opening. Now the shootings are in the school, not in the streets anymore. Now they're back in the schools, away from us.
Oh boy.
But no,
I think this hopefully this starts a precedent. I'm a big believer in well, first of all, they want to empty out the jails, get rid of federal prisons and things of that nature. And I'm all for trying new stuff. Even though I was a cop for 20 years, I'm progressive in that. I like new ideas. And I think one of the things that
mean? Explain to me what that means, releasing everyone from.
Well, they want to have more money to play with. And a lot of your budget, if you work in a state or in a city, for city mayors, they get annoyed with the budget because it's usually top heavy with police and corrections and prisons. Why not get rid of all that stuff? This way I can take the money. I have more money to steal. That's my theory. But anyway, my point is this. Where were we?
The federal getting rid of who's in federal prison. Like,
I think what they used to do is house arrest. I'm a big fan of that. And if you want to go out, if you're anywhere between 14 and 21 years old, you commit a violent crime, no prison, house arrest. And if you want to go out, you should only be allowed outside handcuffed to your mother, because everybody behaves a lot better when they're with their mother.
I like that.
There you go.
No video games.
Oh, you
no
can do
iPads.
whatever. No, I listen. If that maybe that's that we could implement that too. I like you can do whatever you want at home, but I like if you're gonna go out, you got to be handcuffed. Because your mother should be responsible. Your parents should be responsible for you up until you're a certain age. And then if you're doing robberies and you're doing violent crimes, and you're in that age group, your parents should be sitting right there with you in the cell or handcuffed to you everywhere you go.
That makes sense. And but like the thing that really got the mom, I think they're screwed. I think the parents are screwed. Like the kid was like Googling where to buy bullets or trying to buy bullets, and the teachers are standing over watching them do that. And then they called the parents in to let them know. And then the mom texted back to her son like, "Hey, I'm not mad at you, but next time, don't get caught while doing it." Kind of like.
And didn't she say LOL?
Yeah, or something. Yeah, yeah. She was cool. Oh, it was on the news. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give I have 2 grown kids. Okay. I'm gonna give all the young parents out there a hint. If you're asking your child to write a letter to Santa, what they want for Christmas, and their top present that they want is a firearm, a gun, an AR-15, maybe you should get them a therapist.
Yeah,
that's what he wanted for Christmas. He wanted a gun.
Oh, he did? He actually did. Oh, geez.
They bought him a gun for Christmas. The gun he killed those kids with was a gun that his parents bought like the week before.
Yeah, his parents should absolutely, without question. I mean, like, if you're in a car, though, tell me if I'm wrong, Mark. If I'm in the back seat of a car and the driver pulls into a 7-Eleven walks in and shoots some people, I'm going on trial too, right?
You could say they were acting in concert, but if you were sitting in the car, oblivious to what was going on inside, it's easy to say like, I'll be right back, and then I go inside and rob the place. It was actually a lot of time. I've seen it in a few films.
I like the way
that
that you
scene.
said that, acting in concert, like he's in the back, like playing drums, like.
Well, that's what they call it. They call it acting in concert
He's
together.
in concert. He's air guitaring in the back seat. They're like, he's totally part of this concert. He's
You know what I would like to see?
he's got a smoke machine.
I would like to see the child be asked, one of you has to stay in prison. Like, well, one of your parents, we're going to burn them to death. We're going to set them on fire right in front of you. And you get to pick one. I'd pick the father, because the father, he had another child that he didn't pay any attention to. Apparently, this child that with the gun and the shooting, that boy was his father's the apple in his eye. Like that, the father spoiled him rotten. This child, but he has another child with another woman that he never paid a penny to, doesn't pay any attention to, and that kid apparently is doing very well. So I think we should burn the father.
It sounds
so
like
you
it.
know more about this than I did. I didn't know any of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm always reading shit.
But by the way, that's what the glasses are for. Those are reading glasses. He's,
yeah, I think I'm all for that. Like, I love, like, to me, I would have a town square, and I would have people burned at the stake.
The speaking of which, on that same thing, that movie King Richard about Venus and Serena Williams' dad.
Oh yeah.
About how he's supposed to be this great dad. His other kids are coming up like, no, he fucking is not a great dad. He never talked to us. He abandoned our family. All he cared about was those. He's like, he had more children than those two.
Yeah, but in all fairness, I wanted my son to be a baseball player, and I put a baseball in his hand, and he could throw right away, and he was just natural. If he wasn't, I don't know what I would have done. I would have maybe found somebody else to breed my future ball players. And that's what happened. Maybe he put a tennis racket in those other kids' hands and they were spazzes. They couldn't play for shit.
Those kids blew it.
Time to move on.
So it was their fault. So you agree with King Richard? Mark's
some
going against everything I'm saying on this.
Some kids suck in sports, man. What are you going to do? You're going to be stuck with that kid forever? I want to raise professional athletes.
It all worked out. I mean, it all worked. His plan worked. I like that movie. I enjoyed it. It made me want to play tennis.
Oh, really? Oh, you saw the movie?
I did. I watched it the other night.
Were the other kids involved in the movie? Did they show his other kids?
Yeah, there's I think 5 kids in the movie.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just saw like
but they did. I think they did mention that there were other kids at some point in the movie.
Right.
But no, I liked it. I met the Williams sisters once, so I was really invested in this movie.
Oh, where'd you meet him at?
I shot a thing with them for HBO a bunch of years ago, and Venus was delightful. So I was really excited to see her do so well in the movie King Richard.
Nice. And Serena, not so much. Is that what you're implying?
She had a cold or something, so I think she just wasn't in the mood for my stupidity, because like we were shooting these promos for HBO where you can watch them on YouTube, and they just had me being an idiot, and you could see like if you're the world's greatest tennis player, and they're like, here, go hang out with this idiot and you have a cold, really bad cold.
Yeah.
You could see how I totally understood why she was just not into it. Because I think they kind of sprung me on her, like they were doing like all this like video stuff, like promo stuff, and then they're like, hey, well, we've got you. Can you talk to Dave for 5 minutes?
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I think Serena understandably was not, but when the camera was on, she was amazing. She was hilarious. And as soon as the camera was off, she was obviously like, get this idiot away from me. I have a cold. But Venus, I was in love with. I think maybe just the contrast of her being very pleasant. I was like, oh, she's the greatest. I love Venus. If she's listening, I love you, Venus.
That'd be great if like their fathers in the background making them practice their overhand when they're not on they're not on camera. He's still like making them practice. But I do these things where I open up baseball card or sports cards with professional athletes, and I did just a couple months ago, and I did some with the Carolina Panthers. Luke Kuechly was great.
Oh, nice.
Hassan Reddick, Luke Kuechly retired. He's going to be a Hall of Fame linebacker. Hassan Reddick, who's a current linebacker, and they were both great. But then Robby Anderson, the guy that used to be a wide receiver for the Jets, couldn't have been any more of a douche. Like, he was too cool to be there. I didn't care. I'm the host, so I mean, it wasn't like I was paid to be there the same way he was paid to be there. So I mean, I didn't care. I'm just still doing my thing. But yeah, I don't think they're going to use that footage just because like he just was too cool for everything in the room. Just like everything was like, all right, dude. So that was yeah. But he didn't want to be there. He wasn't he wasn't cool.
They're gonna make him take media training.
Yeah, no, but also in his defense, it was a Tuesday, and that Sunday, the Carolina Panthers lost a game, and the whole thing in the game is he got in a huge fight with the quarterback Sam Darnold on the sidelines, and it was like all over the news, like what happened. And Sam Darnold didn't say anything; it was just Robby Anderson throwing his helmet, yelling at this guy. So it was all over the news. So in his defense, but we didn't talk about that. So in his defense, he was probably having that over his head. But but you put that shit away. You put that to the side, right? And you be a professional. Just like what Serena was.
Exactly. He could learn a thing or two from Serena, who, when the cameras are rolling, absolutely delightful.
Or he could have pulled a Lenny Dykstra and not shown up at all, just being like, I'm not showing up. But the one thing I will say,
Lenny Dykstra left you hanging.
The one thing about the kids in Detroit the only thing that, yes, the fact that he's Googling where to buy bullets and like he's drawing pictures of, but like they were saying like he was drawing pictures of like, just like, essentially like just people like blood and whatever. But some of that, like, that when we were kids, like heavy metal was a thing. Every kid was drawing like things being killed and like heavy metal like drawings, like death metal was a thing. So
well, that's how he talked his way out of it. He said it was part of a video game. His drawing.
Really?
Yeah, that's what he explained to
see, that's right, you're the reader, Mark. That's why you're here. Fucking so that's why he said he was drawing, because like, yeah, when they're saying like, because when it got to that, I'm like, all right, well, him Googling bullets, and then like that's one
thing. The Googling bullets is different. That was on his phone. Yeah, but the drawing that he left on his desk, he explained that was part of a video game that he was playing.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, a kid drawing like gruesome pictures, like that was what every kid did in like middle school, at least in Northeast Ohio. Like even the girls did
I don't think that's the red flag. I think the Googling bullets.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
I think that's what I would perk up about.
But if you're getting a gun for Christmas, it's almost like, like if you're getting a video console for Christmas, you're just looking at the games that you're going to get on the side. So he knows he's getting a gun. Why not look up the ammo? What's the best ammo for killing other kids with? So that's what he was doing.
That's a weird thing to put into Google. Best bullets to kill other kids. Like,
yeah. That should let out a single. Like, if Google could do one thing, it's just report everybody who's Googling stuff like that.
Yeah,
it should be a red flag that there's a lot of information you don't really need out there that only they're for specific things.
I do that with porn sometimes, where like I get weird about the Google searches. Or not the Google, but like I'm like, all right, is somebody watching this? As you put that in, like, all right, all right.
You know what? It's like a way to look for porn too. Like you don't want to put in young girls, right?
Yeah.
Because then but you put first time on film.
There you go.
Because usually first time they're gonna be young.
It's a semantics issue, really.
Yeah. Shy girl, that's another one. Shy girl.
Shy girl. That's by the way, man, that's
Ponytails.
pony.
Oh,
Look at
boy.
Mark. Mark knows. Mark knows all this. Or you
Trading bras.
Yeah.
Trading bras. Another one.
That's how you get around the corner.
First period.
But also, like, we all remember what the hell's his name? Call Me Lucky. Who is that? The comedian.
Barry Crimmins.
Barry Crimmins. Who he took down AOL, like the whole AOL chat thing when people were like messaging like underage girls or underage or kids or whatever on AOL Messenger. By the way, he did that living on Waterbury, the same street I was a 15-year-old kid AOL messaging girls on that same street. But the thing that's like crazy about that whole AOL thing is, I don't know about you guys, but we just had one family computer. So like my sisters and I would my sisters and me, like we would be on there and like that's our dad's email address as I'm talking to girls my age.
Yeah.
To my dad's carpet shop and been like, hey, did you message this girl Lisa that's
scary.
14 in North Royalton? It's like, no, but I obviously did that. But if I'm just saying, like, I wonder how many of those people it was like their kids messaging and it wasn't actually them, that it was a thing. That's it's scary. It's scary because even nowadays. Yeah, because now everyone's got their own email address on their own phone, like kids and parents. But back then, if you remember, it was one. It was just one family computer.
I thought it was when my sister and I got AOL. I was living with her, and I thought it was like a landline. It never occurred to us that you would need like more than one email address.
Yeah, like we used my dad. My dad never. That's before an email was like a big thing, so no one was emailing my dad. Like so I mean, it was like we all used his email. Like we just had my dad's email was our family email. And so yeah, my poor I wasn't good at getting laid or asking talking to girls, so nothing ever would have been there anyways like that. But I'm just saying, like, that was just weird. My poor dad, that would have all been under his umbrella. It's like, wow, he's emailing a lot of children. This his name's also Raymond DeVito. He's no longer with us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You should ask him if because that's funny that you got wrongfully arrested, and then I'm thinking your poor dad, God forbid he ever got wrongfully arrested for looking at stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
then, like, it wasn't even porn. Like, I didn't even know how to look for porn. And then if you remember, when you did find like a dirty picture, like we're in like the family den, so like it would took forever. You're just like, nobody walk in. You're just like standing in front of the computer screen as it downloads. We're like, never mind what's going on here. Yeah. So, do you guys got any? I know we got to wrap up here in a few minutes because Mark's got to go defend some police officers in Newark. But what do you guys got? What do you guys got going on? What's your?
I have a shameless plug. My new special, The Pride of Cleveland, comes out Thursday, December 9th. December 9th on the 800-Pound Gorilla YouTube channel. Thursday night.
Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you. So everyone go watch it. It's mostly about Ray's legal problems. Did a whole hour.
You know, it's funny. I'm looking that up right now. I have an album that came out with 800-Pound Gorilla called Bangers.
Oh, nice.
And
I'll go listen to it.
I might have I might be on there too, that channel. I didn't because
you didn't even know.
No, because they recorded it. They recorded it right. Visually as also, and I just signed something that for them to air it somewhere. So I'm not really. It might be.
Yeah, it probably is, because I think they've just been building that more recently.
Speaking of which, I need to. I want to throw an hour out there. I'm waiting for my Drybar, which I shot in May, and it's still like it's gonna still be a while, they said, before it comes out. So it's more like, all right, I'm gonna do stuff with the jokes before then. Because I heard a lot of people that did Drybar just used like old jokes I don't use anymore, like a dummy. I was writing jokes specifically for it. So it's like, all right, well, if it's gonna take forever to come out, then I'll put it out. Like, I'll put out some of the stuff on my own, like some of the jokes, just to retire that. But
Sure.
yeah, all right, all right. Plug your
Well, that's
social
a good
medias then, and or all right, what's going? What are you guys doing for the holiday? Dave's going back to Cleveland.
I'm gonna go to
hang with
Cleveland.
Pops.
I joined the Slovenian club. I'm not Slovenian, but I just joined it last time I was home.
I'm Slovak.
Me too.
No, Slovenian couldn't be more different.
Is it really not Slovak?
No, there's Slovakia and Slovenia. Come on, learn about your heritage.
They're
Have you been to
different?
Slovakia?
No, because
I've been to
wherever
Slovakia.
wherever the hell my great grandparents are from, it doesn't exist anymore. It's like part Slovenia, Yugoslavia, like whatever. Like,
You need to.
but
you,
it's
you need to learn about your heritage. You got it all wrong. Slovenia is totally different.
and Slovak.
There's
What's
the
Yeah,
Czech
it's one. You know
Republic,
what? You know what's
and there's
annoying?
Slovakia.
It's like they're like really we couldn't get another name. Like look at you're Albanian or Armenian, and if you're Armenian, it's like get away from me, bro. You're fucking Albanian. You can't have two. It's like so Slovakia or Slovenia. Forget about Slovenia. You're Slovakia. That's it. I don't care. It's too
Thank
much.
you, Mark. There we go.
All right, I'll give it to you.
I'm like, I'm not Italian. I'm from Sicily. I'm from Sicily. It's like,
It's
the same shit.
Stop. But at least it doesn't sound the same. It's like saying if I'm from Italy and you say I'm from Italia. No, there's no Italia. It's Italy. That's it. One or the other. Pick one. I'm not doing this, especially when they're completely different. Like Albania and Armenia are completely different, just like Slovakia and Slovenia are completely different.
Oh, they are different? I didn't know.
Yeah, it's too much. But I'm actually, well, I'm not Slovak, but I'm Czechoslovakian, half.
Yeah, I'm
My
something
mother,
there, and then
my mother's from Czechoslovakia, and my stepfather's from Slovakia.
Yeah.
The language is similar. You see, at least they have.
Can you speak those?
I understand it, a lot of it.
Wow.
I can say a lot of words. Jak se máš, dobře, maslo, maminko.
You know
Maslow's butter.
what?
Jak se máš is how you doing.
The last time I saw you, Mark, was in Astoria, and I got to give this place some credit because nobody ever really talks about this joint in Astoria. It's Serbian food. It's on 34th Avenue, right by Steinway, a block in from Steinway. That so they Savapis, like you know what I'm talking about, Mark?
So what do you call it? Sogap? What is that?
It's Serbian food, and it's Savapi.
I never.
Savapi, it's like the grilled sausage with red pepper sauce, and it's on this floury pita.
I think I'm gonna go check it out. I haven't had it yet.
Good.
I've had some Serbian food. Like somebody's brought me one day at work, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good.
It's really good, and like I don't get why it's not more popular. And it's not that expensive either. And it's like these it's like these two old Serbian women that like it's always a soccer game going on, some East European soccer game in the background.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's all good. All right, I'm gonna let you guys get out. Thank you guys for
Thank you. Keep your nose clean, Ray.
Yeah, listen, I hope you're not doing that job anymore, driving around for that drug dealer. And
no, I'm
This
not.
is-
AKA pharmacy company.
You guys plug your social medias, and then I'm gonna plug it at the beginning.
I'm Mark
Okay.
DeMayo with a K, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram. My name Mark DeMayo, YouTube as well. I have a podcast called Police Off the Cuff. Love you guys to check it out. Thanks for having me, Ray. Nice to meet you, Dave.
Nice to
for
meet you,
doing it,
Mark.
buddy. Dave, where can people find you, homie?
I'm at Mr. Dave Hill, Mr. Dave Hill on Instagram and TikTok, and I have a podcast, the Dave Hill Good Time Hour, which is me just rambling.
Hell yeah, that's a good time. All right, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging, man.
Oh, and the special, December 9th,
The Pride of Cleveland.
The Pride of
800
Cleveland.
Pound Gorilla
Nice.
YouTube channel, December 9th. Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
thanks, you
guys.
guys. Peace, man.
All right, have a great day.